Hello, historians. In this podcast, we're going to discuss what it is you need to do in order to finish your Unit 1 formative assessment Dear Diary. If you need to quickly brush up on the objective for this document, the overview of how this document connects to our Unit 1, or the directions, please go ahead and pause the podcast now to review those three important pieces. Once you're done, go ahead and hit play in order to review what part of the Dear Diary should already have been completed. Go ahead and pause your podcast now. Now that you've had a chance to review the objective, the overview, and the directions, let's take a look at the sections that should have already been completed. You should have already answered the question for the Unit 1.1 American Democracy Notes. You should have also already answered the Unit 1.2 and Unit 1.3 question for Greeks and Rome. If you did not answer these questions, you probably do not have any stamps on your packet, or you probably have multiple stamps. It's in your best interest to go ahead and complete these two sections now for late credit rather than not getting any credit. The question for these sections can be found directly underneath the black title. There's also a teacher's note letting you know specific articles, specific slides, or specific handouts that you might want to focus on in order to grab evidence for these questions. Please keep in mind that these questions are opinion questions, meaning there is no right or wrong answer. Once you've read the question and looked at the teacher's note, you then want to go ahead and provide the 4 different college-level historical sentences I'm asking you for. I'm asking you for a claim with 2 roadmaps, cited evidence for roadmap 1, analysis 1, and analysis 2. These are the same formats I'm asking you for in the next section, Unit 1.2 and 1.3. Go ahead and pause your podcast now if you need time to finish these 2 sections for late credit. If you don't need time to finish these 2 sections, you can go ahead and continue with the video. All right, so now that we're ready to move on to the sections you should be working on tonight, let's go ahead and break down these 2 sections. The first section you should tackle is the Unit 1.4 through Unit 1.6 section. This section will deal with the Enlightenment, Mary Wollstonecraft, and John Locke. The question in this section says, which Enlightenment philosopher do you believe had the greatest impact on Western political thought and why? Again, no right or wrong answer. We only talked about Mary Wollstonecraft and we only talked about John Locke, so those are really the only 2 options that you have. When you answer this question, you need to provide a claim, which is your opinion, and 2 reasons. 2 reasons for why you're saying this philosopher had the most impact on Western political thought. You also need to provide cited evidence. The evidence can come from your notes, the evidence can come from the articles attached to the reading, or this evidence can also come from any outside research. Please keep in mind that when you provide evidence, and evidence can be a quote, part of a picture, part of a chart, or any other item you can find that supports your reason. Your evidence should be cited, which means that you should be providing the name of the author or creator, and also the name of the document or image. Keep in mind that this evidence should be evidence which supports your roadmap 1, meaning your reason 1. You should not be providing evidence for reason 2. Once you're done providing cited evidence, you need to provide A1, which is what does the evidence mean, and A2, which is how does the evidence prove your point. Once you're done providing these 4 sentences from the historical college level framework, you're pretty much done with the Unit 1.4 through 1.6 section. Now, please note that some special instructions I'm giving you to answer this question are to preview the attached data articles, meaning that if you're pulling data for this particular question, you should be looking at these articles that are attached here to your Dear Diary. Now, some of these articles probably look familiar. They look familiar because we've seen them multiple times. These are all articles that we had to complete ID's homework for. They are articles that we had to analyze in class to complete our notes. and they are also articles that we saw on our summative assessment. So it should be pretty easy for you to go ahead and pull some information from these articles. If you need some of these articles in color, or if you need them to be more clear, you can go ahead and use the attached links on the Google Classroom post to see the articles larger, clearer, and in color. I realize that your copies may not be the best quality. Now, when you're providing cited evidence, please be sure to notice that at the top of each article, there is the name of the article and there is also the name of the creator. So please make sure that when you are providing citation, that you're using the citation information given to you at the top of each article. Not having your citation means that you're plagiarizing, and plagiarism does not get credit. Let's go ahead and jump back now to the next question of our Dear Diary. The last question of the Dear Diary is an end of the unit essential question, where you are now going to take everything that you learned about Western political thought, everything you learned about democracy, about philosophers, about Greek, about Rome, about Wollstonecraft, about John Locke, consent of the governed, natural rights, everything that you learned, and you're now going to go ahead and answer this one question. Again, no right or wrong answer. Using two reasons, argue if democracy is an effective, meaning good, form of government. So basically, do you think a democracy is a good type of government to have or a bad type of government to have? Now, please keep in mind that there's no right or wrong answer for this question, which means that there are some good, positive things about having a democracy, but there are also some really bad, negative things about having a democracy. Because we did not talk about the positives or negatives of democracy, I'd like you to notice that you should be watching at least anywhere from 2 to 3 of the video clips I've assigned as extra sources. These video clips can also be found on the Google Classroom post. Out of all of the clips, choose any 2 to 3 of your choice to watch, and go ahead and use the video clips as your evidence. So again, for this question, you'll be providing your opinion with 2 reasons for your opinion. You'll be providing cited evidence. The evidence would be the documents, the videos that you get. The citation, you should tell me the name of the video and the name of the person who made the video. For evidence, you can literally just quote the video. Make sure that your evidence is evidence for roadmap 2, meaning your reason to. And then tell me, what does the evidence mean and how does the evidence prove your point? Please notice that for the evidence section in this portion of the Dear Diary, I'm asking for roadmap 2 evidence, which is very different from what I'm asking in this section where I'm asking you for roadmap 1 evidence. If you have any questions or concerns on how to complete these last 2 sections of your Dear Diary, please feel free to email me or feel free to go ahead and respond via Google Classroom. Again, these 2 sections are due next class, either Thursday the 20th for periods 1 and 2, or Friday the 21st for periods 5 and 6. This is worth a formative assessment score and is essential to helping you ensure you receive a passing grade.